So question 1 on the Olympiad, there's two different ways that you can approach it. So it was the one that was, shoot, here. 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 minus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So when you're approaching this question, there's two different ways you could do it. What you can do is, because you're subtracting, you can look at pairing the numbers up. So for example, 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 4 is also 5. 8 minus 3 is also 5. 7 minus 2 is 5. And 6 minus 1 is also 5. So really, you could just do 5 times 5 and get 25. Alternately, and probably what most of you did, was just add up what's in the first bracket. 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 is 40. 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 15. And then find the difference between those. For question 2, you had a 76-day summer vacation, and it was how many Fridays are there at most? So what you have to realize, in 76 days, there are 7 weeks. Sorry, there are 10 weeks, 7 days in a week. So 70 days is 10 weeks, and 6 days. So a lot of you answered 10 for this based on this information right here, but to actually maximize the number of Fridays, if you started on a Friday, you would have another Friday. And so if you start on a Friday, if the first day is a Friday, then you'll actually end up with another Friday, and you'll end up with 11 Fridays in total. So if today is a Friday, you will get 11 in total once you get to 76 days. So in question 3, you had a 9 by 9 grid, and it asked you to figure out if you cut it in 2 pieces, what is the greatest total perimeter that you could be made. So the first thing that you have to think about is that you want to have the most edges that you possibly can have. So if I cut it here, for example, then I cut it into a 3 and a 6. You're not going to create the most edges possible. So if you look at this, you're going to have, this one is going to have a perimeter of 3, 6, 8, 10. This one's going to have a perimeter of 3, 6, 7, 8 for a total of 18. Oops. 18. So then you have to think about cutting along more edges. So if you have your 9 by 9 square, what if you cut it like that as an example? So you have one piece there, and then say this piece in green here. So you end up with that, and you end up with that. I've drawn this wrong. This should be 1, 2, 3. Okay. This one has a perimeter of 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And this one has a perimeter of 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're getting better, and we get a perimeter of 20. But again, can we think about creating the most possible edges? So if you have your 9 by 9 square, and you cut it here, you'll end up with a U-shaped piece and a piece like that. This piece would fit into there. I know I haven't drawn it very well. When you find the perimeter of that, this one is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, I've messed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And this one will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And your total will be 22. So that's the biggest perimeter that you can make with cutting it into 2 pieces. So question 4, or D, asked about the greatest multiple of 37 with 4 digits. So with this one, what you have to think about is you know that your number has to be, the biggest it could possibly be is 9,999. So you have to think about what's the closest multiple of 37 that would go into that. And you have a few different ways to do that. You could divide by 37. You could do a little bit of guess and checking in terms of your multiplication and things like that. The other thing to think about is the biggest possible number is 9,999, which means it has to be less than 10,000. So what I would do is I would actually figure out how many times does 37 go into 10,000. So as you can see, I just did that quickly. I paused the video and then did it. 37 goes into about 270 times. So then I'm going to actually figure out what 37 times 270 is. And I'm going to get 9,990. So that's going to be the closest multiple of 37 to 10,000, which means that's the biggest multiple of 37 that will have 4 digits. So question 5, or E, was a little bit of confusing in terms of the wording. So you have Terry and you have Sherry. And Terry is the mom, so Terry is the oldest. Terry is the oldest. And Sherry is the youngest. And their ages have to be reversed. So what I would suggest for a question like this is to do guess and check. So for example, you know that when it talks about the digits but in reverse, you know that Terry or that Sherry, the youngest, can't be 9, for example. Can't be 10 either. 11 maybe, except when you reverse 11, you get 11, and that's not possible. So we start by guessing and checking, but let's start with the age of 12. So let's say Sherry is 12. That means Terry must be 21. 13 years from now, that would mean that Sherry would be 25 and Terry would be 34. When I look at this answer, the answers aren't double, so I know that one's wrong. So let's try another number. Let's try 13 for Sherry, which means Terry will be 31. Again, let's add 13 and see what happens. So again, that one, not double. So let's try again. Let's try 14. If Sherry's 14, Terry has to be 41. So all it said was to reverse the digits. Then in 13 years, how old would Sherry be? How old would Terry be? And if you look at these, they're double. 27 times 2 is 54. So that means that the answer was 14, that Sherry had to be 14. So guess and check would be a very good method to use for this question. So that's all the questions taken up. I know I kind of did that quickly and it was a little scribbly, but I thought it was important to have an opportunity for you to see how to do each question. If you have any questions about them, please come and see me and we can go over them together.